Q8 pilot videos are powered by Virtual Fly. Hello there friends and followers, and welcome to this Explain 11 video. I welcome you aboard American Airlines Flight 2764 service from San Francisco to Los Angeles International Airport. As many of you have requested the San Francisco to Los Angeles route, I decided to do this full tutorial video to answer many of the questions that you guys have been asking me about flight planning, how do I do the flight planning, and many specific questions on how to fly the ToliSS A319, as well as top of descent calculation, how's it done mathematically or without using the FMC. So this is probably going to be a longer than usual video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to include the timeline in the description section of the video so that you can skip the parts that you don't want to watch. So without further ado, let's get started. In order to increase the realism of your flying experience, I highly recommend that you begin your flight planning with FlightAware. FlightAware will give you the ability to search for a real-world route of your flight, including the aircraft type, the actual route, time and gate, and all that information is available to you. So we're going to use this information to populate some of the fields in SimBrief, which is the tool we're going to be using for flight planning. So we're going to begin with the origin, and of course I will provide you with the links to all the tools that I use in this video. So origin airport is Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar, which is San Francisco International, and the destination is Los Angeles International, Kilo Lima Alpha X-ray, and we're going to click on search. Now you will get a lot of different flights, and those are all flights flying from San Francisco to Los Angeles. You can use filters here. For example, we can remove general aviation and to narrow the search a little bit. What we're looking for is an A319, which, as you can see, there is, and by the way, there's a lot of flights, a lot of different aircraft for this route. So I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for. Specifically, we are looking for an A319 because that's what the Toliss Airbus in X-plane is. And as you can see, there's an American Airlines Flight 2764, which is scheduled to depart San Francisco in 21 hours and 32 minutes. Now, if you click on this specific flight, you will get a lot more details. As you can see, the flight number, the departing gate from San Francisco, and the time, and as well as the arrival gate at Los Angeles and the time as well. Now, some information is not available yet because this flight hasn't taken place, but you will have all the aircraft information, the airline cabin speed. This is, of course, coming from the previous flight. But if you want, you can always go to the past flights. For example, go to Thursday, 21st of March, and you will have all the information there provided for you. So now we have the gate departure, the exact gate departure and arrival, and all the times. We're going to be using this information here. By the way, you can see also the filed altitude for this flight, as well as the route. Okay, so this is the first thing, and now we're going to head over to SimBrief. So once you are at SimBrief, make sure that you have the latest ARAC cycle and that it matches the one in X-plane. We're going to go to the dispatch system, and we're going to start entering the information. We're going to say create new flight, and we're going to enter the new information. The airline, the ICO code for American Airlines is AAL, and the flight number is 2764. And we're going to be departing San Francisco, and the departure airport is Los Angeles. Okay, and has put an alternate for us here, which is Kilo Oscar November Tango. The date and the time, you don't really need to worry about it. Now, for some reason, the Toliss is only in kilograms, I believe. So I'm just going to change this to kilograms, but do bear in mind that the units used in the United States would be pounds, not kilograms. We're going to select the airframe, which is an A319, and everything else here is good. We're going to take a note of the departure runway, which is 01 right, and the arrival runway in Los Angeles, which is 25 left. Everything else looks good. As you can see, we have been given exactly the same route in FlightAware. So this is good, and everything else looks good to me. We're going to say generate operational flight plan, and there we go. We now have the operational flight plan. Of course, you are free to download the FMS file for X-Plane 11 and access it from the aircraft. I like to enter the flight route manually. As you can see now, we have all the information we need to start programming the MCDU in our Airbus. The cruise altitude today is going to be 33,000 feet. Block time is about 1 hour and 18 minutes. The air time is actually 50 minutes. And we've got the block fuel and all the information that we need to start programming the MCDU. So we're going to click here on the PDF file. So we have this file handy to enter our route. Everything here is looking good. Okay, so in the flight plan, the information that we're going to need is going to be as follows. We're going to need the right here, we're going to need the index, the cost index, where the air distance, we're going to need the average wind here. We're going to need the average ISA. And let's see here. This is our cruise altitude today, 33,000 feet. All our fuel information is available here. And then this is our route. So we're going to be departing today San Francisco, runway 01 right through the STIC 4 departure. And we're going to exit at the eBay waypoint. And then we're going to fly direct to Burgle. And that will actually take us directly to the Star into Los Angeles, and we're going to land runway 25 left. Just from looking at this, it looks like we are going to do a vector to final. ATC normally would give us the instructions. Everything else is looking pretty much standard. I don't see any problems in our flight plan. So the next thing I do is I head over to Navigraph. So let's head over to Navigraph. And we're going to enter the flight. So to do this, we're going to say add, and we're going to enter the flight name. We're just going to say KSFO to KLAX. And we're going to copy, actually first, we're going to enter the departure airport, which is San Francisco. The destination is Los Angeles. The alternate is Kilo Oscar November Tango. And now we can copy the flight plan route, or the flight route, right here. We're going to copy that, and we're going to insert KSFO, and that would be our Star and KLAX. So that looks good to me. Let it verify the route. Okay, no errors found. The route is valid. And we're going to say save. Now what this does is it's going to give you quick access to all the charts. So let's remove this. And we click here now. As you can see now we have, this is the flight route that we're going to fly today from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And we can very quickly take a look at our charts. So we're going to go to the SID, and the SID that we're interested in is this one here, and we are going to click this circle so that you have it here, and you don't, once you head over to the San Francisco charts, you'll be able to see it. As you can see, this is the star that we're gonna, or I beg your pardon, the SID that we're gonna take upon departure. So we can expect an immediate left turn after departure. We're gonna turn this way to port, and then from port we're gonna make a left turn and head over to eBay. This is the exit from our SID. So I'm going to click here so that we get the aircraft as well. As you can see now, the aircraft is positioned here. I have done a full tutorial on the moving maps and how to set this up in Navigraph. I will link that video in the video description as well. All right, we're going to head over now to our Los Angeles charts. By the way, the charts are very, very important. I highly recommend that you use some kind of a tool to look at the charts before any flight. SkyVector is a very good tool if you're flying exclusively in the United States. It's got all the charts for all the airports and it's free. Navigraph, of course, is subscription based. All right, so Los Angeles, let's go to the star. And this is our star into Los Angeles. So we're going to select this one as well here. Yeah, that's fine. And as you can see here, after Godot, we are probably going to expect vectors to final because there's nothing there. If we go to the approach, we're going to do 25 left. So we're going to select this one here. As you can see, after Godot, there is nothing here. So we can fly all the way to this particular waypoint here and then make the turn back to the airport. But at about this gap here, we should actually be able to descend and intercept the localizer for runway 25 left. We're going to make a note of our final altitude. If we are at crane, for example, which is this fix here, we need to be at 10,000 and we need to keep descending, and we'll be able to intercept the localizer at 1900 feet. So things are actually pretty straightforward for this flight. We can also take a note of the localizer frequency, which is 109.9er, and the final approach course is 251. We are back in X-Plane, and I do want to start from the very beginning to show you guys how I place the aircraft at the gate. We're going to say new flight. The Toliss A319 is selected with the American Airlines livery. And San Francisco Airport, of course, just to search for the airport, you can just write the airport ICO code, and we're going to say customize. Now, we know that we're going to be departing runway 01 right today. So normally what I do, especially in airport scenery packages that do not have all the gates modeled, such as this one. And by the way, the airport today is a Freeware airport of San Francisco. It is that of Mr. X6. Link to all the airports, of course, will be provided in the description section of the video. So what I normally do is I select the gate with the closest proximity to the departing runway, which is in this case this one here, which is Terminal 1, Gate 31. So I don't really mind flying from the incorrect gate simply because I want to save taxi time. So we're set now and we can say confirm and start flight. Here is our aircraft, and we are now parked at the gate in close proximity to the departure runway, so let's get things started. Things are pretty dark here. Hopefully we'll get a better angle as we start taxiing so that I can show you how well those textures are. You can see the overhead panel, absolutely great, and this is the same texture set I've used in my previous flight. They have just been updated. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up the Toliss control panel, and we don't need anything here. We need to go to the aircraft configuration and set our fuel. We need about 5,000 kilos of fuel today, so we're going to set that here. You know what, let's increase the passengers a bit, and maybe we'll increase the cargo just slightly here and apply these load settings and quick refuel. And now we're good. Okay, now we're ready to start powering up the aircraft. We're going to head over to the overhead panel, and the first thing we'll do is start battery 1, battery 2, and we're going to turn on the external power. All right, so we have power established to the aircraft, and we're going to set the ADIRs here to nav mode. It's going to take some time for the ADIRs to align, so it should be aligned once we complete all our preps. All right, the fuel pumps, turn turned on, all of them. Okay, there are no white lights. Everything is looking good. So let's head over here, turn on the nav lights. Seatbelt, non-smoking, arm the emergency lights, and we are pretty much good for the overhead panel. Let's go ahead and increase the brightness here and down here as well. Alignment in 7 minutes or so. And one of the things I like about the Toliss is that the doors will automatically open when you load the aircraft, and as you progress through the preparation, they will close depending on which stage of the preparation you're at. Alright, so the lights are good now. There we go. Alright, the lights are good, and we can start programming the MCDU. So let me bring this up here, and actually we need this to, hang on 1 second, let's make this a bit brighter. There we go. And the same thing, oops, what did I do? Okay, here we go. All right, so we've got the brightness to where we want, and the MCDU, and the first thing we'll go to initialization. Now you can load your plan if you have elected to download the FMS plan, but I like to enter everything manually, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to be departing San Francisco, Kilo, Sierra, Foxtrot, Oscar, and our destination today is Kilo, Lima, Alpha, X-Ray, which is Los Angeles. We'll enter that here. Our flight number today is American Airlines 2764. Stick that there. The cost index, if I'm not mistaken, was 5, but we can always go back and check. Yep, indeed, it's 5. And the cruise altitude today is 330, and align IRS. Okay, next page, and now we're going to need the control panel again. So we're going to head over to the control panel once more, and we're going to enter the information for our zero fuel, center of gravity, and zero fuel, as well as the block fuel. So if we take a quick look here, we see we have a zero fuel center of gravity of 27.2, so 27.2, and we have a zero fuel weight today of 53,287 kilos. So 53.3 is good, 53.3, and we're going to stick that here. And the block fuel is 5,000, so we're just going to put 5 here. And voila, we are done with the fuel prediction page. And now we can go to the flight plan. So, flight plan, we're going to select San Francisco, and we're going to select departure. We are going to be departing runway 01 right. So this is our departure, 01 right through the stick 4 departure. Or SID, and then we're going to exit at eBay. So we're going to head back here. We're going to select 01 right, and we're going to select the SID, which is this one here, and we're going to be exiting at eBay right here, and we're going to say insert. Perfect. Now we're going to head back to the flight plan, and after eBay, we're going to head over to Burgle. And then it is our star into Los Angeles. Okay, so let's enter Burgle. Done. And now we select Los Angeles, which is our destination and arrival. And the arrival is going to be runway 25 left. So we're going to do an ILS approach. And we're going to select our which is the Earn 2 star. Select that. Now, as far as the star or the transition is concerned, there is actually no transition in the actual flight plan, okay? But we're going to do, since we don't have ATC and we really don't know when to actually make the turn, we're going to do this on an arbitrary basis during this flight. But I'm going to select this. Particular transition so that we don't have any discontinuities. Okay, so I'm going to select this, and we are going to let me see here. This one comes from, well, that's fine. We're going to insert, and what we're going to do is we're going to clear this discontinuity and head back here, and let's see what we've got. This is the Gadu. So this is the last fix normally, and after that we would expect the vectors to final from ATC. So what I'll do is I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to clear this disco as well, and now we're good. So if we go to the flight plan, we will have no discontinuities. I will show you. It actually looks very similar to the flight path that we saw in FlightAware. Okay, so we are good now. We're going to head over to the performance. And for performance, what you need to do is, I'm not going to use the departure runway slope. I'm just going to leave it at 0. But we are going to select the configuration for flaps. We're going to do flaps 1 today. And what I really like about the Toliss is that it gives you not just the V speed, but it gives you the flex temperature, which is really cool. So V1 is 144, V2 is 149, and V rotate is 149, and V2 is 152. 152. And we have the flaps 1 today, and let's see, up 0.5. That's right there here. Okay, so up, where we go, up 0.5, and the flex temperature is 66. Okay, so that is all done. All our performance flight plan data is now in the MCDU. We can now remove this, and we actually no longer need this either. So now we need to start the APU. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to wait for the doors to open. It looks like they are. All right, we're going to just wait for the APU now to do its thing, and until it's available, we can prep the aircraft. Let's see here. So our altitude today is 33,000 feet. Okay, so that is now set. And what we can do is turn on the radios. All right, radios are now on. We can listen to the ATIS, which is my preferred way of doing things, is to listen to the ATIS for the weather information and the barrel reference. But just for fun, I'm just going to go to active sky, click on conditions, partly cloudy, and the altimeter is 3015. We're going to switch this, oops, 3015. Voila, all done. Okay, so the only thing that we need to do now is wait for the APU to become available and put the aircraft power on APU. As you can see, the doors are now automatically closed, and we're ready for pushback. Let me put this on performance. Okay, and what we can do at this point is plan our pushback out of the position. So let's go to plugins, and I use Better Pushback, and we're going to say pre-plan. All right, let's see here. No, that's not what I want to do. So we are actually going to put the aircraft here.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Okay, we'll call you through the menu when we are ready. Okay, looks like the APU is available, so we're going to start now the APU bleed. And once you start the APU bleed, you no longer need external power. So we're going to turn off external power now. Beacon lights are on. Okay. And as you can see here, I just want to show you the plan that actually looks very much similar. So you know what, let me try to, does that help? Not really. Okay, so what I do want to show you is the plan. We're going to head over to plan here, and we're going to decrease the range a bit. Yep. So this is pretty much matching what we saw in the, here, let me show you here. So as you can see, this matches the SID, but what I also want to show you is the star into Los Angeles. So if we go there we go. So as you can see here, this is a bit of a long way there, but it actually looks pretty much similar to what we saw in FlightAware. So if we go to, let's see here, FlightAware, okay, as you can see here, it looks pretty similar to this. So they're making, probably, they will travel the same distance before they get the vectors to final from ATC. Okay, so we are good to go. We are going to put this back on arc. Now we're going to reduce the range to about 10 nautical miles until we depart. And let's go ahead and taxi out of our position now. So we're going to inform the pushback truck that we are ready to go. Come on, where's pushback? There we go. And start push.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Okay, the tow is now driving up. All right, so we have our clearance now to start the engines. All right, let's go ahead and start the engine number 2 first. Engine mode selector. And engine number 2. All right, the engine number 2 is now stable, and we're going to go ahead and start the engine number 1. Engine number 1.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, let's set the parking brake.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Okay, so we have a good start on both engines. Engine mode selector back to normal. And we are going to head over here, and we're going to turn off the APU bleed. We'll put the packs on normal. APU bleed off. APU master is off. Auto brake maximum. And we're going to arm the speed brake. Flaps 1 for departure. Let's disconnect the tow. All right. Okay, all is looking good now. And we need to set our pitch trim to 0.5.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
All right, thank you for your service. Let's go ahead and set everything here. This looks good, this looks good, this looks good. TARA. And we are now ready to go. Everything is set and is looking good. Let's turn on the runway turn-off light, taxi light, and we are good. Okay, we can release the parking brake now and head over to runway 01 right for departure. Parking brake released, and let's go. All right, we are here at the hold short position for runway 01. Now we're going to wait for the 757 to take off.
Approaching 01 right.
I think we can line up and wait. Ooh, what is that aircraft doing?
On runway 01 right.
Wow. Okay. Parking brake is set. We're going to turn on our landing lights. Nose light to takeoff. Strobes are on. Wing lights are on. And we are now pretty much ready to go. Okay. So we're going to bring up the power to about 50%. We need to check the cabin. So we need to click here to inform cabin crew that we're good to go. And takeoff config, no blues, and we are ready for departure now. Okay, parking brake released. Let's take it to about 50%. We're going to wait for the aircraft to stabilize, and we're good. All right, Maniflex, SRS, and runway. And we're waiting for our V1 speed. That's V1, and we should be able to rotate shortly after V1. V1, rotate. All right, and positive rate of climb. Gear is going up. Begin our turn. All is looking good at the moment. Okay, climb thrust. Alright, and at this point we can engage the autopilot. And we can now disarm the speed brake. Flaps 1. Flaps 0 actually. Yep. All is looking good. A very smooth takeoff from San Francisco. We are now climbing at 250 knots, passing 6,000 feet. Very beautiful scenery by Mr. X6 or ShortFinal. Really, his contributions to the flight sim community are very commendable. Okay, we're climbing through now to our cruise altitude, which is 33,000 feet. And we can actually take a look here and see where we are relative to San Francisco. That's the airport right there. And we took off runway 01 right, and we made the turn, and now we're heading back on our route to Los Angeles. Alright, we are now at approximately 10,000 feet, so we're going to turn off the landing lights and runway turn-off lights, nose lights, wing lights. We're going to leave the rest of the lights on, and we're going to turn off the seatbelt sign so that passengers can start moving around the cabin. There is a restriction here at 10,000 feet, as you can see, but we should begin the climb again once we pass this waypoint here. As you can see, it's marked here on the PFD. Very nice scenery. I really like X-Plane, especially the mesh in the US in X-Plane 11.3. In fact, from X-Plane 11 moving forward, the mesh in the United States is just amazing. And I have created some photoreal scenery of the area, of the Los Angeles area. So once we reach Los Angeles, we should be able to see some photoreal scenery. I'm not sure what the weather is like in Los Angeles, but we'll take a look momentarily. As you can see now, we've begun the climb again to 33,000 feet. Okay, so we continue our climb. We'll check back with you guys as soon as we level off at 33,000 feet. And then we will be discussing the top of descent and how do you actually calculate the top of descent mathematically. So stay tuned for more. I'll see you guys in a bit. Welcome back, folks. We just leveled off at our final cruise altitude of 33,000 feet. All is looking good. The first thing we want to do is we want to check the weather conditions at Los Angeles, which is the destination today. So I'm going to bring up Active Sky, and we're going to enter the station here, which is Kilo Lima Alpha X-Ray. Clear conditions at Los Angeles. That should give us a nice approach. We should be able to see the nice photoreal scenery that I've created for this flight. And temperature is 13 Celsius, dew point 8, and the surface winds. We've got a bit of strong winds as we come into land, 11 knots at 250 degrees. Altimeter is 3014, but it should be a nice morning flight into Los Angeles. By the way, the real flight is actually a night flight, but I just decided to fly during the morning time. Okay, let's take a quick look at our flight plan here. And top of descent is 43 nautical miles to top of descent, so this is probably a good time to start entering the arrival data. And let's see here. Okay, so we are going to go to next phase. Okay, so the first thing, we can grab the altimeter from Active Sky Next, which is 3014. Normally this information, by the way, is available in the METAR. So 3014, and the temperature is 13 Celsius. Wind is 250, 11 knots. So 11 knots at 250 degrees. That is set. Transition altitude in the United States is 18,000 feet. VAP is 139. And we're going to be doing flaps full. The decision height for runway 25 left is 200 feet. So we are all configured now for the approach, and we're going to go ahead and reset the MCP altitude to 10,000 feet. And we're now pretty much ready for top of descent in about 30 nautical miles. So let's see, here is the top of descent point, and we are going to do an open descent. Okay, now one thing to note when you're doing open descent is that the aircraft would go to idle. So you would see now the engine thrust would go completely to idle, and we have now begun the descent, as you can see. And we're going to descend initially to 10,000 feet, and we will monitor the progress as we approach Los Angeles. We continue to descend through 19,000 feet to 10,000 feet. Really beautiful photoreal scenery here of the Los Angeles area. And again, you can take a look at my Ortho4XP tutorial video to create your own photoreal scenery. Created a very large area of Los Angeles there for your viewing pleasure. Very nice indeed. I really like X-Plane and the fact that you can get a lot of things for free. One of which is Ortho4XP, which really changes the experience in the simulator. Alright, so let's take a look here. We are approaching our transition altitude, and the altimeter at Los Angeles, or our current position, is 3014. So we're going to be setting the barrel reference to 3014 momentarily. Very mountainous area. This area in real life is actually breathtaking from the airplane window. I remember last April I visited the US on a business trip, and the view as we approached Los Angeles was absolutely amazing. Very, very nice. Okay, so transition altitude, and we are going to set the bar reference to 3014. That is now set and cross-checked. Okay, all's looking good. We continue our descent. Alright, I'm going to change the MCP altitude to 15,000 because it looks like 15, yeah. So we're gonna change it, and we're gonna keep descending as required. Alright, we need to keep an eye on our altitude as we progress through the waypoints here on our way to LA. So let's bring the flight plan. We're gonna go to 14,100. There we go, 14,100 in approximately 5 nautical miles. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and initiate the descent now. And we're going to go into an open descent again to descend to 14,100. Alright, at this point, we're going to begin a descent to 6,000 feet. Let's see here. Alright, 6,000. Oops. That's what we need to do. 6,000, open descent. Yeah. Okay, so we're doing good now. We're going to descend to 6,000. And that should put us right here, right about here. And that's the runway, by the way. So we're not going to go all the way to the end of the transition. We're probably just going to wait until we are at the right altitude and then just make the turn to intercept the localizer, runway 25 left. As you can see now, the aircraft has begun decelerating to 210 knots right there. That's what the MCDU tells us. Right about there, 210. So we are looking good, and we are approaching 10,000. In fact, if we take a look now at the arrival chart, as you can see here, this is us right here, and we're moving into Godot, and that would be the end of this particular star, and then it would be manual, so we would expect vectors to final from ATC, which we are not going to get, so we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to give the clearance to ourselves. This is Godot, so this is the end, and then probably here, somewhere here, we're going to begin the turn towards Los Angeles. Alright, let's go ahead and prep things up. We are at 10,000 feet. Let's turn on the landing lights. And nose lights, runway turn off light, wing lights, all the lights. And everything's looking good. Very, very nice scenery here of the Los Angeles area. And we continue our descent. Alright, landing system on both sides is on. As you can see now, the distance to the localizer is 5.5 nautical miles, so we're actually pretty close. The runway, the airport is right here, so it's on our right to the back of the position of the aircraft. Okay, I am going to start descending to 4,000. Alright, so here's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and fly direct to Faller. Let's see here. Direct to Fueler. Okay, insert. And we're going to begin the turn now. towards Los Angeles, and we're going to engage the approach, if I can find it in this darkness. There we go. Approach is now set. And that is our turn towards the airport for runway 25 left. And as you can see now, the speed is dropping. And it's controlled, of course, by the MCDU. Localizer and glide slope is now showing. Alright, let's set our brake to medium and arm the speed brake. Alright, here we go. Flaps 1. And we're going to go to flaps 2. That's the airport right there, by the way. Localizer is captured. Flaps 3. And flaps full. Alright, so my comments regarding the difference between the flight factor and the Toliss A319, I would say that they are extremely similar in the way they fly. So the fly model is extremely, they're almost identical. Fly-by-wire and everything else is pretty much the same on both aircraft. Now one is more expensive than the other, and for good reason. The FF, or the flight factor A320, is slightly more advanced in terms of the system simulation, although the weather is not available in the flight factor A320. It's available on the Toliss. So after those texture updates and all the free stuff that's available on the market for X-Plane, the Toliss becomes a real bargain, as a matter of fact. And if you really want to enjoy an Airbus, it's a definitely serious contender. Definitely much better than the JAR design fleet of aircraft. Alright, we are heading to the runway, and we, as you can see now, are going to be dropping the landing gear momentarily. Everything's looking good. Ground spoilers are armed. No smoking sign. Ooh, by the way, we never turned on these seatbelt signs. So let's notify the cabin crew. And we are, okay, I think we can lower the landing gear now. Landing gear going down. I think you can see the textures now and how well they're made. Beautiful textures, really. I will link them in the description section. Okay, and the aircraft should begin descending now. Glide slope is active. There we go. Beautiful. And as many of you have requested that I don't edit the part where the aircraft is approaching the runway, I'll try as much as possible not to edit too much. We're looking good now. We are on the localizer and the glide slope. The speed is 140 knots, and all is looking good. As we descend towards the runway 25 left, everything is looking good and in order. Final check, we are at 2,000 feet, 140 knots. Ground spoilers are armed, seat belts, non-smoking signs are on, cabin crew notified. We need to notify them again. There we go. All right. Cabin crew notified, no blues. We are clear to land, runway 25 left. One thousand feet. I think you can see the textures more clearly now, and they look absolutely amazing. Really very, very nice. This last update. By the way, this is not the Toliss update. I'll link the mod and the description. All right, we're approaching the runway. I'm gonna go ahead and disengage the autopilot, and it is my plane now.
Approaching 25 left.
$500.
500 feet. A little bit off.
400.
400 feet. Landing.
100 above. 300. Minimum. 200. 100.
100.
50. 40. 30. Retard. 10. 5.
And touchdown. Welcome to Los Angeles International Airport. Reverse green. Decel. All right. All right, let's vacate the runway. We're gonna park the aircraft first, and then we're gonna take a look at our landing. Now, according to FlightAware, the aircraft parked at 45B. That would be, I think, Terminal 2. Terminal 2 or Terminal 3, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about where we park the aircraft, but we are going to park the aircraft at a suitable gate, and then we're going to take a look at our landing. Okay, let me retract the flaps now. And we are going to turn on the taxi lights and turn off the landing lights. Runway turn-off light we don't need anymore.
Approaching 07.
Looks like there are a lot of empty gates here, so we're just going to pick one. And let's see here. This looks like a nice gate to park at, or the one after. Let's go ahead and start the APU. Yeah, I think we're just going to park right over here. There we go. Okay. And as you can see, we have been identified as an A320. Stop. Okay. Parking brake is set, and the APU is still not available, so we're just going to wait for the APU to become available, and then we're going to kill the engines. Let's check here. Almost there. Alright, APU is available, and we're going to turn on the APU bleed, and we're going to turn off our engines. engine 1 and engine 2. Okay, so welcome to Los Angeles, and we are now going to take a look at our landing. Before we conclude our video, please note that this airport is Los Angeles International by ShortFinal, or Mr. X6, a beautiful airport and a very accurate rendition of the airport. It's one of the airports I highly recommend for X-Plane 11. Well, this pretty much brings us to the conclusion of our video today. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I sure do hope that it was an informative and useful tutorial. And until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.